Like everything else in gambling, the Sweet 16 is certainly cyclical. The underdogs last year covered 6 of the 8 games, but the favorites had covered 13 out of 16 the previous 2 years. But then, if you went back to 2013 and 2014, the underdogs were 12-4 in those 2 years. So, underdogs, 12 out of 16. Then favorites, 13 out of 16. Then underdogs, last year, 6 out of 8. It's all cyclical. Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here. This, of course, is going to be your Thursday video report. I'm going to break down a couple of the games. The one that I really like here on the free pick video today is going to be the game in Atlanta between Kentucky and Kansas State. Also going to take a look at the game, which I think is going to be fascinating. And it's near pick'em for a reason, Nevada and Loyola of Chicago. Now, the guy that has the big play tonight that is featured is going to be Jack Bremen, who is going for winning day number 13 out of 18, a stretch of the past 17 days where he's made $10 bettors, a little over $10,000. Tonight, once again, the biggest play of his career. 12th ever 200 dime, double your wager, college basketball release, Florida State and Gonzaga. Fresh off the 11th ever 200 dime play, which was Clemson, the 1.5 point underdog, outright over Auburn, by 30 some points? I think 31 points over Auburn on Sunday that you also got over half price off. Hit the 10th ever 200 dime play last Friday with Charleston getting the job done against Auburn last Friday. The 9th ever 200 dime play was, what was that one? Arizona over Southern Cal in the Pac-12 tournament a couple of Saturdays ago. So he's been on a red-hot roll with these plays. And, of course, 29-15 roll with his normal top-rated 100 dime releases after scoring last night with Northern Colorado, a 4.5 point underdog outright at San Diego by 11 points last night. You also got that play for over half price off. Same thing goes today, over half price off by using coupon code JACK. And all your other discount codes and coupons are over on the homepage, so you know where to find them, including from Brad Wilton, the first 200 dime play that he has had since November of, 2016? Yeah, 2016. 200 dime winner number 16 out of 22 on the Kentucky-Kansas State game, which I'm going to talk about. You can get it for over half price off because it's the half price play of the day with coupon code HALF. So, Kentucky is a 5 to 5.5 point favorite in this game tonight. And you talk about having pretty damn good home court advantage. This game, if it's not being played in Lexington, is there a next best thing for John Calipari's Wildcats than being played in Atlanta? I mean, it's like North Carolina being asked to be played in, having a game being played in Charlotte. Of course, how did that work out for the Tar Heels last week against Texas A&M? Not too good, huh? But listen, it's in the Phillips Arena in Atlanta, and it's the South Regional, so, obviously the Kentucky fans are going to travel for this game, and that's going to give the Wildcats a huge boost. I like the way the Wildcats have really come together here in the latter stages of the season. Other than a hiccup game in their regular season finale at Florida, they've been playing some great ball. Tore through the SEC tournament and took care of business against 2 teams that have been playing some good ball themselves. First, taking care of business against a hot shooting Davidson team, and then how about when they just dispatched quite easily with Buffalo, and everybody and their brother was betting Buffalo after Buffalo just annihilated Arizona in their first round game. Wildcats had no problem with the Bulls in their second round game last weekend. So now they take on the Kansas State Wildcats. And the Wildcats are going to get a big boost from the anticipated return of their number 1 scorer, power forward Dean Wade, who averages 16.5 points a game. Now, he's missed the past 3 games because of lingering foot problems from stress fracture in his foot. And their offense has certainly struggled without him in there. Now, they beat Maryland, Baltimore County in the second round. It wasn't a pretty game. They committed 18 turnovers in that contest, and they managed to escape. And who did they beat in their first game? Who did they beat? Creighton. But listen, Creighton, I mean, the Blue Jays, because of their pedigree, because they came from the Big East, they were lucky to make the tournament, but they had not played well since January when they lost their big guy, whose name I can't pronounce, their power forward, who was averaging like 12 and a half points and 8 rebounds a game. So I can't really say that Creighton, was it that impressive a victory? I look at Kansas State, they're a lower echelon team from the Big 12. And I just look at these two rosters, and sure, Kentucky has a heck of a lot more talent in this battle of the Wildcats. But I just think that this is a damn cheap price. Now, has Kentucky played down to the level of its competition? Yeah, quite a few times. Is this the battle of the Kentucky team that was playing so poorly in late January and early February? No. We have to judge this Kentucky team based on how it was playing late February and in March. This Kentucky team, with the only hiccup in its last 8 games coming against Florida, this Kentucky team, which has been getting great play from Kenny Knox, great play from its point guard, the freshman, who has just been on a tear here in the tournament, this Kentucky team is head and shoulders better than Kansas State. So I'm more than willing, in what I say is the next best thing to being played in Lexington is pretty much a home game for them. So I'm more than willing to go with Kentucky in this spot. Once again, Kentucky and laying the points. Now, Nevada against Destiny's Darlings, Loyola of Chicago. You're talking about two teams that are outstanding shooting teams, two teams that can launch the ball from the perimeter and hit the three-pointers. Two teams that have a little difference in terms of their three-point defense, because Nevada is a team that has a little more length. They are a better team in terms of defending against the three-pointers. This is an interesting game. As a former reporter, the one thing I learned very early on is that having been around teams, I realized the value of being somebody that was in the locker rooms, having the access to watch teams at shoot-arounds, covering teams day in, day out, the value of that perspective when it came to applying it towards gambling, towards handicapping. That perspective is just invaluable. So once I got into doing this as a full-time basis, I always relied on the beat reporters, the guys that were with the teams day in, day out, to be my eyes, to be my ears. Then this little thing called the internet came around and made my life a hell of a lot easier about 15, 18 years ago. Well, they continue to be my eyes and ears. The guy that covers the Nevada Wolfpack for the Reno Gazette has just been dead on this year with his breakdowns, game-by-game previews of the Nevada Wolfpack. So their first 2 games in the tournament, he picked Nevada. So in their opening game, I thought, okay, I could see them winning that first game, and they certainly did. When he called for them to beat Cincinnati, I thought, well, he's been dead on all season, but maybe he was drinking the Kool-Aid a little too much. Well, when they came down from, we're down by 22 points, I thought, what did he know? Okay, what did I know? So, the thing with Nevada is, again, they're such a deadly accurate team. Loyola of Chicago and Nevada have both been living on the edge. And I ain't talking about a horrible John Bon Jovi song here. This Nevada team, at any moment, just like Loyola, can certainly pop and be explosive offensively. The key here tonight is going to be a matter of tempo, a matter of pace. Listen, Loyola wants to slow down the tempo of this game. There's a reason that the Ramblers are 22-9 against the spread this season, because they dictate the tempo of this game. If you go to KenPom.com, you're going to find that Loyola of Chicago is 319th in the nation among 351 Division I teams in terms of their possessions per game. That's the 3rd slowest among the remaining 16 teams in the tournament. Now, Nevada, on the other hand, they need this game to be played at an accelerated pace. Loyola Chicago wants this game to be somewhere in the low 60s. Nevada needs this game to be played in the high 70s, preferably somewhere in the low 80s. So it's going to be a battle of who's going to be able to control this tempo. Who's going to be able to exert the defensive pressure on the other and be successful at it? Tough game. Personally, I'd like to see Nevada knock off Loyola in this game. And I'm a guy who made a lot of money on both of these teams this season. I'm a guy who probably the Missouri Valley Conference was his most profitable conference this season. And I'm a guy who thought that Tennessee would beat Loyola of Chicago. I did, however, think that Loyola would beat Miami. But let's face it, were they both lucky wins? I mean, okay, they needed a three-pointer to knock off Miami of Florida. They outplayed Tennessee. Ifs, ands, or buts. But to win that game straight up, they needed another miracle finish. Nevada needed a miracle finish against Cincinnati to advance. I don't know what happened to the Bearcats in that game. Just a total collapse, a total choke job. Nevada has to avoid a slow start, though. They have trailed in the first half and at halftime of each of their last 5 games. They're just 3-2 in those games. Interesting. I have a hunch Nevada's going to get this game here tonight. So your official free pick is Nevada. But let's be honest. If I had to rank these two free selections, I like Kentucky more. FYI, the guy in the Nevada paper, he likes Nevada too. He's been deadly accurate this season. So Kentucky and then Nevada, those are your two free selections. In terms of Michigan and Texas A&M, damned if I know. It's going to be a down-to-the-wire game. I think Michigan has a huge coaching edge in this game. I think Michigan, although they don't have the size, one way or another, they just keep winning games. I wouldn't bet against the Wolverines. I think Texas A&M just had a size mismatch that certainly showed up in the North Carolina game, and I think that Roy Williams was out-coached, and I think the Tar Heels just didn't have the personnel. And I'll tell you what, Michigan, one way or another, they just have a charmed life this year. But again, wouldn't touch the game. That'll do it. Wish you well. Talk to you again tomorrow.